Hello, Bill Molyneux here for Bill's Wargame World. We're trying a new wireless mic. Let's see what happens. All right, we have a small table set up. We're going to try the Civil War figures I've mounted on the bases. Our game is the Battle of Wyse Fork, North Carolina, March 7th through the 10th. Wade Solowski did a great tour when we were in Kinston, North Carolina. This game is to do two things. One, bring some awareness to the Battle of Wyse Fork. And I'm also producing a board war game for that. It'll be out in a few months, maybe a little less, through Blue Panther Printing. Next, we're going to use wargaming rules called With Hot Lead and Cold Steel. These rules operate on a system for smaller scale figures. For today's game, we're going to fudge those ranges a little because we are using 54s on 1/32 scale figures. And I have the Wyse Fork set up here, Hoke's big attack coming in on the flank, and he thinks this is the end of the flank, as we learned in our tour. However, the units went further down, so he actually gets flanked as he comes forward. All right, with hot lead and cold steel, let's see how things go. We have our units set up, and let's start playing. All right, well, here we go, everyone. Wyse Fork Battlefield, 54 millimeter. This is the attack on the Union far left. Hoke's attack. Our ADCs, we have this brigade commander has 3 regiments, and then we have this brigade commander has 3 regiments. He rolled a 2, and then our last brigade commander of 3 regiments is a 1, and then we have our artillery battery. Let's go check our Confederates AD camps for with hot lead, cold steel. This is one of the first things you do is you generate your AD camp numbers. Well, with our AD camps here, we have 5 regiments with 2 leaders. One rolled a 6, one rolled a 4. This game system has been modified a batch in the way that I'm using it for 54s, so I've taken all ranges, half them, and added that half percentage to the rules. So, for example, my movement is 15 inches instead of 10, for example, or you can double time 5 and 10. We have no rallies. That's one of the first things that happens. We're going to do artillery firing and initiative. And for initiative, the Union have the initiative. All right. I'll set up the camera. One of the interesting things in hot lead and cold steel is the artillery phase. A game round, by the way, is determining the AD camps, which we did. Initiative we just did. We have no rallies. So the next thing is artillery. So we have a 3-gun battery, and we're going to fire solid shot, which in this system, you pick shell, solid shot, which is interesting. Solid shot used against other artillery does double points of damage. So, we're going to have our artillery battery fire. We're going to grab 3D10. And where are they firing? All right. Well, they're going to fire at this Confederate battery here. Grab my 3D10. And 3D10 for that range. And I do have all the quick sheets that are in the file section. And I'm going to pause the camera here and do my measurements to make sure I have the right measurements. Well, we are at 58 inches. Our smooth bores are at 58. My maximum range is 72. converted to 54, basically. My shoot number for the is 7 or better. My modifiers, -1 because of long range. And here we go. Well, we scored 1 hit, which is 2 points of damage because they're firing solid shots. Okay. So our Union guns have fired. Our Confederate guns can fire back. They do get to return fire. Or I could save their fire for later, but I'm going to have them return fire. So, and they are 2 dice. And they got a 10, which is 2 points. All right, I'm going to smoke everything, mark everything. So our battery fire was quite effective for both sides. They both scored some hits with solid shell. Welcome back. I had to smoke our artillery there. And if you have not seen a Bill Molyneux YouTube video, I'm just an old fat guy trying to have a good time learning about history, making videos of historic sites, making some board games, and making YouTube videos with my friends the Chuckleheads and in my basement. And my wife has not been doing the best health-wise, and right now I've been unable to wargame with my group, the Chuckleheads, because I need to take care of my wife. So, get that out of the way. We are going to go on to our next portion of our game, which is the orders. And we can give orders to our units with our AD camps. And really, the Union troops, they really are supposed to hold and take this Confederate attack. So, the only order I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have those 3 units here move out in support of that second line. Alright, as you can see, I have now moved my 1 brigade up. And so I've advanced to the stone wall. And here we have that brigade. And this brigade here, I have points to move regiment up and form them into line. And the other unit can move up and take the wall. So, I will pause the camera here, or should I let it go? Let's see. Now these are Arthur Vandersteur's rules. Pronounced his name wrong probably. Apologize. And this unit can move to here. And I've used my 80 camp points. And everyone's moved. So when a unit moves more than half, double time, it can't fire. I'm not really worried about firing right now. Let's get a different view of the battlefield. Now I got my Union line has advanced. They're preparing for the Confederate attack on their far left. This is the far left. This is the area of the battlefield in North Carolina and Kinston where they want to put a highway and a huge clover leaf. So I'm hoping that you'll watch this video and maybe send them a few dollars. Goober the Traveling Bear and I donated $300 this past month from YouTube videos money. All of you that watch this video are generating money for historic sites. Please remember that when you watch my videos. Alright, I'm going to see what our Confederates, we have no shooting, no melee, and we're going to prepare for our Confederate assault. I'm going to pause the camera here. Okay, welcome back everyone. I'm stopping the camera when I move so as not to make this video last longer than necessary for you to watch. And our Confederates double timed. I had enough points to get everyone to move, and they're advancing on the Union. Firing wise, everyone has double time, so there's no rifle musket fire. All these units, by the way, are 3 base units, and I gave them the morale of 7. So I'm going to these are somewhat experienced troops on both sides for this game. So we're going to clear up the smoke from these artillery pieces and prepare for our next turn. Just so you know, we have no shooting and we have no hand-to-hand combat. So in hot lead and cold steel, we're going to get ready for another game round. Now, I did see on one video where someone was keeping the AD camp number, and other people, re-roll the AD camp with the rules. I'm going to be re-rolling the AD camp numbers. I do find it interesting how many wargamers adjust their war games for their own, how they might like to adjust rules. All right, let's prepare for the next round. All right, welcome back, everyone. I have AD camp rolls have been made, and we are ready. I will say, by the way, these 54mm figures, I have them mounted on these 4x4 pieces of wood. This was the greatest idea I came up with instead of single figures. I can still use them for my brother against brother rules, but I can now put out regiments like mad without taking 2 hours just to get several hundred figures set up. All right, let's stop babbling and let's start playing. Our initiative went to the Confederates this turn, and we're going to do counter battery fire. 6 points of damage will drive that battery off. I forgot to pull that smoke. So our Confederate gun, 2 guns are going to fire, and I believe I needed 6s because of range. 8 or higher. 8 or higher. And here we go. I rolled a 9 and a 10. That's 2 hits, which 2 times 2 is 4. So, how I'm playing this, that would be a total of 6 points of damage. So, our artillery battery over there is really hit. And I have to check my rules, but I believe that is the value of the large battery. And of course, I've only used these a couple times. These rules I did 2 play tests a little bit with a couple units. And yes, so that gun battery is wrecked at the moment. Now they get to return fire, and they get 3 dice, and they need 8s, and a 1, 1, and a 4. So we are going to drive off this artillery battery. So that's going to be gone. So we will put them in disarray for now. All right, so our Confederate gunners caused some great confusion on our Yankee battery. Our Union battery has been hit. Our rebels are advancing, and we are going to prepare for and because I have to look at my all right, we have rallies, which we have none. The artillery is fired. We're going to give the orders and movement. The Confederates are going first, and the Confederates are going to just advance their 9 inches or so they can still fire. And we are going to, the objective is to take the hill the artillery is on, the high ground. And we'll pause the camera and I'll go ahead and move. Alright, due to AD camp and order points, I don't have enough to move everyone and fire. I'm doing the best I can. So we're gonna resolve our firing, and our Confederates are gonna fire, our Union get to fire back. I think what I'll do is I'll do one round of firing with the first unit. My shooting ability is a 6, and our modifiers, so the shoot modifiers are right here. I will say the rules are really neat on these quick reference charts, and we are close range. It will be 3 points per hit. First fire is a +1, so 6. Need 5s. Let's see, 3 dice. Hit, and that's 9 points. So this unit would be riddled. So we're using some teddy bear fur, and we're firing everything along the line. There we go. I hope you're enjoying this video to help support Wyse Fork Battlefield, because as you watch this video, it helps raise money. Alright, I'm going to resolve more of this firing. I have to check the rule book, but I believe that unit, this first unit, got decimated because of the amount of, I rolled 3 hits, doing 3 points of damage. So we have these other 2 units. I'll go ahead and roll them. That one's at longer range. That's a miss, and 1 hit out there. And the morale check. And I get out some, I think I'll put dice on these bases for damage, rather than my big red markers. Alright everyone, gosh, this is taking quite a while. All alone, rolling all these dice and figuring out these numbers on a rule set that I'm new to. However, I will say, the quick reference sheets are fantastic, and I am picking this up. Also, Mark's Game Room has a really good video on Antietam, which I've watched a few times to help me understand the rules. They are not too complicated, and I'm enjoying them vastly. Now, I have to resolve all the rest of this shooting and reactions and morale checks when you're fired upon. And I have some units that may be decimated, so I'm going to pause the camera, resolve the rest of this, and come back, so I just don't have you watching 20 minutes of boredom. Alright, welcome back. Believe it or not, that probably took me almost a half an hour to resolve some of this. So what we had on the far left, that Confederate unit got decimated. It got hit by 2 units of infantry. However, they failed their morale, and they have fallen back to the ridge. So, they have their marker to show back that they're uneasy. We have the Center Union Regiment held. Drove those 2 units back. They're going to have to rally in the rally phase. And this whole Confederate line on this side, this is the Confederate far right. This unit actually gets flanked like at Pickett's Charge. And this is also considered like the Pickett's Charge of Wyse Fork. But they actually held, they put out a great deal of firepower and pushing hard on this flank. So our Confederate far left flank puttered out, and the right flank of the Confederates are doing well. Let's take a look at our Union troops. So the Union have fallen back along the road. They have one unit that's held in the center, and we also are faltering on the left. We have to rally several units and remove markers, and our Union gun battery has been chopped up. All right, the Battle of Wyse Fork, March 7th through the 10th. This is Hook's attack. Let's roll our Union movement. All right, continuing on. All right, we used our aide camp points to rally. We're going to remove those markers there. We moved the one unit up to here. And we have aide camped him with, so we are getting ready for our next round. I gotta check my rules, and of course, this is my first real big play test with these rules. I can be making a ton of mistakes, but I'm enjoying this game, and I've had a very stressful week with my wife in the hospital. So any major mistakes here, please be kind, be courteous on your comments. And let's see if the Union troops, the Federals, will hold the high ground here at Wyse Fork battlefield. And there's the fork. Okay, let me get out our sheet here. We have a lot of rallying to do. We have our AD camps done. We got to determine initiative. And let's go into the Confederates. We got a rally. And we use our points. And he rallies, and he rallies. So, they're both good. There are only two Confederates. Our Union have rallied. Okay, all rallies are done. And we have... probably should clean up some smoke, huh? Let me pause the camera while I remove... Alright, I did not roll good for the Confederates AD camp to give orders, which really is frustrating. I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, we have artillery batteries. I forgot about that. Our Union battery is in disarray. Our Confederate battery is going to fire shot here. So, let me get the shot does extra morale marker. And get my range out. Our 12-pounder Napoleon that's firing is, by the way, made by Jack Brendel in Arizona. And he made me that 12-pounder Napoleon. The other gun crew was made by David Minkle, I think it is, Dave Minkle, that he gifted me a Whitworth. But right now, because there's no Whitworths at this battle, the crew is manning a 10-pounder Parrott. And our gun batteries rolled 2 ones. So the Confederates, who did the artillery that did so well in the last turn, failed to be at all effective. And now we have to go along our chart. And I'm sorry I have to keep looking at the turn sequence of game rounds. We did artillery. It's time for orders and movement. And I don't have a lot to do. I'm going to send the far left flank of the Confederates forward with what points I have. And gosh, here we go. I'm going to double time. They won't be able to fire. Welcome back, everyone. Battle of Wyse Fork, Kinston, North Carolina. And I'm just going to keep mentioning that because they could use a $5 bill or a $20 bill or even an email. to the Wyse Fork Battlefield on Facebook to help this battlefield stay pristine and not have a highway placed through it. All right, we have a lot going on. The Confederates have a charge. We have firing for the Union. We have firing here. And the Union over there have a long-range shot. I have to check my range because 32 inches. I don't know. So we're at 32 inches for our long range at 54 millimeter. And I'm going to ask if who else is using 54s in their adjustments. So I'm still tweaking my ranges. So if the author of these wonderful rules with hot lead cold steel has maybe he can make a 54 millimeter reference sheet, because I'm not the only one that war games in 54. Ron Perlman, Walt Leach, many of the chuckleheads. All right, let's resolve some of this firing. Miss. I'm going to pause the camera so you don't have to deal with all this dice rolling. Okay, everyone, welcome back. We had the melee here. Scored no hits on the Confederates. Confederates destroyed that unit, and it's gone. The Union unit that was here got riddled, failed its morale check, and has fallen back there. The Central Union Regiment is a kick-butt unit. I don't know who that is, but they fired into here, drove another Confederate Union unit back, and the center is holding gallantly with 3 regiments of another brigade in reserve. However, the left flank is collapsing. And then on the far flank, our Union regiments fired. I didn't smoke them, and they scored no hits at long range. I did not give cover because of those walls. I don't know if I should have or not. But we will, if I was supposed to give cover, the unit's not right up to the wall, so I left them as being in the open. Let me see where I'm at on my chart. As far as I know, I've completed everything and the melee was done. So we will go ahead and remove smoke and redo our 80 camp rolls. Okay, well, the 80 camps have been re-rolled. Initiative roll went to the Confederates. And then our next... Now, I could bid on, by the way, with points to get initiative, but I'm not doing that, by the way. The rules have quite a bit of neat stuff in them. They would play different, by the way, if I had Walt and Kevin and Mike and Joe and Derek from the Chuckleheads here. But we're doing what we can in my little basement. So I got a Confederate rally to do, and then we're going to do artillery fire. Let me come back to you. All right, I have a Confederate unit there that fell back again. And then our Union regiment, I have to check the rule book, but it failed again, and it was right at the edge of the table. I removed it. So if that's incorrect, yell at me. I will say I'm having a great time with these rules, even though I'm floundering a little bit here and there. Also, I'm trying to make a video that you will enjoy watching. So the battle itself, as far as it's planned, I have a 1-hour video of Wade taking me around the battlefield. And it's an incredible video with Wade, Dennis, and Skip, and Goober the Traveling Bear. If you want to watch it, it's on my channel. But this is playing out not quite like it should have historically. Right here on this flank, the Union come around and attack there. But the Confederates have pushed those units back. And what is interesting is the Union center is just doing great. And when these Union troops push these Confederates back and really make them. I mean, they do a ton of damage to the Confederate infantry. It's sort of like the Pickett's Charge of North Carolina. They're yelling, Franklin, Franklin. Many of these troops fought at the Battle of Franklin, by the way. So, as I continue to babble, and we did the rallies, we have our Confederate artillery batteries. And again, Jack Brendel and David Markle were firing, and I rolled 2 9s for a shell in the center right there. So those are hits. I gotta pause the camera. Alright, I am not sure. They've been hit by shell. It causes an extra rally. I'm flipping through my pages. And I believe I have to test morale right now. If this is wrong, I will rework on these rules. I'm just play testing, and they failed the morale. They rolled a 2. I'm going to have them fall back. Now there's a morale test. There's a friendly unit within 12 inches. They get the -1 for being hit by shot. And they're not being charged, and no canister. So I believe no matter what, even with the modifiers, this unit's falling back. And I'm going to have them go this way. So our Confederate artillery, manned by Jack Brendel's figures that were gifted me, and David Markle's Whitworth crew that's now manning a 10-pounder. Well, what do you think of that, everyone? We have artillery done. Also, I'd like to mention I have a video on a 12-pounder Napoleon that is at Fort Frederick State Park in Maryland, and that 12-pounder Napoleon may have actually been at this battle. According to the documentation, it was either here or Bentonville. On the Confederate side, it was donated to Fort Frederick by the Daughters of the American Revolution in 1932. It has a very cool history, and it's at a French Indian War fort. All right, let's continue with our exciting game of Wyse Fork. All right, I'm going to activate units to move, and I guess I'm going to use a double time, 9 inches. If I double time to here, and this unit's en route, by the way, I'm going to hit them. I'm going to have to look up in the book, see where we're at, and then I'm going to my 80 camp value number is a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're going to go all the way up to there. This unit can't move, can't fire. It's double timed. This unit double time, but we are turning the Union flank. Now I gotta move the Confederates at the far end, and then we'll see how our Union units are gonna do. I'll pause the camera here so you won't get bored. Alright, on the far Confederate far left flank, the Union far right flank, I double timed everyone, used all my AD camp points. I have units in the rear that I cannot move, I'm too far away, and they are way back there, and they've sort of been forgotten. So, such is life. I'm pushing forward, and I could get them in the battle at some point, but right now I've used all my Confederate points. Our Union going to react, and I'll pause the camera here. I have to check the rules on this. This unit actually is in disarray. Oh, let me see here. Well, I guess I should pause the camera so you're not listening to me flip through with hot lead, cold steel rule book. Oh, I have both the hard copy or the softbound copy and the edition in the iPad. All right, welcome back. I'm going to give you a recap. We'll start at this end of the table. Confederates poured through to destroy that Union regiment that was faltering. Now our Union center, which is extremely strong, drove back this Confederate unit, and they failed their morale and have run back. I have two Confederate units in the back that are disarray, and one that didn't have enough pointage to move with the AD camp stuff. And I'm still learning on some of that. On the far right, I will go over here. The two units fired at this Confederate unit. That Confederate unit was decimated. All right. So our Confederates have made some incredible breakthroughs in some areas, but I think I really think it's starting to look bleak for the Confederates. They have this chance to turn the flank here, but right now I'm going to say it's up in the air. We have a lot of reserves in the center. All right, let me see where we're at for the we finished our melee, movement, order phase. We're at our next round. We're going to roll our AD camps. I'll come back to you. All right. We did our rallies. I didn't do a back rally. I missed one. I missed two. I missed two Confederate rallies. A 1 and a 3. They both failed. So this Confederate unit is off the table, we're going to say. And he's going to fall back. Well, he'll fall back the 9 inches roughly. I'm doing 9s and 15s. My AD camp value is a 1. And initiative-wise, our Confederates won the initiative again, but this is all we're going to do here. That's about it. And our other Confederate AD camp rolled a 1. So we're going to advance out there. And I didn't pull the smoke. I guess I should do that. Okay, I have everything. Well, I've been playing this for almost 3 hours, by the way. I have our Confederates on this flank are going in. They're going to have a melee. Now, on our far road out, where our Confederates general just lost his ambition, he's got one Confederate unit against 2. I think that's going to be an issue. And he rolled a 6, so with the 4, I think this will be our final turn. Our artillery, by the way, was ineffective. I don't know what happened. They switched to that shell, and they stopped proving to be such good gunners as they were when they were doing counter battery fire. I'm going to go ahead and resolve these couple battles and see what happens. Let me grab my melee charts. And this video, by the way, is not to teach anyone how to use these superior rules. And of course, I probably made so many mistakes. The author, Arthur van der Stuur's probably rolling his eyes, but I'm having a heck of a good time with these. There's a little bit more detail than Brother Against Brother, and I'm a huge fan of Brother Against Brother, but this gets you up into the regimental level, which Brother Against Brother doesn't quite, it's not made for that. You know, they're two different systems. Alright, I'm going to pause the camera. I got to flip some pages. Alright, welcome back, everyone. Let's start right here. Our Confederate attack here. The Union did fantastic on rolling. I rolled terrible for the Confederates. They lost that melee and have been driven back. The Union far left has been secured. The Confederate attack that was very wimpy because I didn't roll good for our leader. That regiment got obliterated trying to charge 2 units across the stone wall. They are gone. I removed them from the table. The other 2 regiments are in disarray. Now, I have several Confederate units that are retreating, with 3 with bad morale. All right, I really am amazed at my my game. I'm looking at the clock. 3 hours and 20 minutes. There was 9 Union units, 12 Confederate, I believe it was. And the Battle of Wyse Fork. The Union are victorious. The Confederates have... they had some good chances. They had a good chance on this flank. And they had a good chance... well, they never really had a good chance on the far left flank. That attack petered out with bad command rolls. And the Union center was just fantastic. They were unstoppable. As far as the artillery, the Confederate artillery decimated our Union battery. And but then the Confederates were ineffective firing their shells. Once again, I'd like to say this gun and gun crew are made and donated to me from Jack Brendel in Tucson, Arizona, the great wargamer who won many awards for his different painting and diorama building. And then this gun crew is the gun crew for Whitworth that Dave Markle gifted me, but we are using a 10-pounder Parrott since we have no Whitworths at this battle. Now, with hot lead, cold steel, I know I made probably tons of mistakes, but I have to say, I very much enjoyed the rules. I had to use the rule book a few times. I also used the iPad a few times. The quick reference sheets with my adjustments for 54 millimeter. I hope maybe the author will consider taking all ranges and movements and adding 50% to them to make a modified 54 millimeter scale. I like my units with 4 figures to a base, and for today's game we did 3 bases. Alright, well this ends out my Battle of Wyse Fork using with hot lead and cold steel wargaming rules. I had a great time, 3 hours and 30 minutes trying to play the game and make a video all alone without my chucklehead friends. And it's almost time for me to check on my wife again. And I'd like to say thank you. Please check my 2 YouTube channels, Bill's Wargame World and Bill's History World with Goober the Traveling Bear. And don't forget, every time you watch my video, it generates money, and that money gets donated to a history site. Thank you. Stay safe. Be kind. Be courteous. And if you don't have these rules, you got to buy them. They're the closest thing to being on the battlefield. Thank you again.